Hello, welcome everyone. My name's Matias Duarte, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about material now, right here, right now. So, happy birthday, material. It's kind of a cheat. We haven't actually reached a full year. We're 1 month shy, but it's still a pretty amazing milestone, a pretty exciting milestone. Last year at I/O, we introduced material design. We wanted to make a system for designing across platforms and across screen sizes. We wanted to combine the best of modern graphic design with the real utility and usability of surfaces. And most of all, we wanted to create a system that put motion at the heart of design and didn't slap it on as an afterthought. And believe it or not, when we did this and we brought it to you all last year, we didn't actually know how it would be received. We were a little nervous. And it turns out we actually got some love for it. Right on the first day, we started seeing some pretty nice quotes. We got the tech press was able to see and understand what material was about. Developers started responding immediately with real appreciation for what material was about. And, of course, most importantly, designers seemed to really understand what we were trying to do with material, trying to create a system that would help and support them in the challenges that they have, designing for all the interactive platforms that we have. So, phew, we could all leave the I/O keynote, go to the bar, have a drink, relax. So this made us feel really good, at least maybe for that first week. But the real question that we have, and I'm sure a question that a lot of you have as well, is how useful is material? And because we're Google, we like numbers. So we're going to take a look at material design by the numbers to start off this session. Let's start looking at our guidelines, the material design guidelines, what we affectionately call the spec. Over the last year, a little less than a year, it had 2.5 million unique visitors. I think that's pretty good. I mean, maybe if you're a YouTube celebrity or you're doing cat videos, that's not so good. But for a design guideline, we thought that was pretty good. In fact, even more importantly than that, more than half of you, in fact, over 60% of you are returning visitors. And that means material design wasn't just something you checked out once, but it was actually a recurring, useful reference. And we see tremendous activity in the color section, in the typography section, in the iconography section, and of course, in the component section like the fab and other specifications like that. So not just designers seem to be getting some use out of material, but developers as well. If we look at Polymer, which is Google's system for bringing material components to the web, we see that developers have looked at Polymer's paper elements also 2.5 million times, the specifications for how to use Polymer paper elements. And more importantly than how many times they've actually referenced these is how many paper elements are actually integrated into products, which has been 100,000 paper elements out there on the web, which is really good for a framework that wasn't even out of beta until Jason announced it this morning. Now, of course, you're all wondering about Android, material on Android. Now, it has been pretty exciting to see material apps come out on Android. And if we look at them by the numbers, we see nearly 250,000 material apps in the Play Store apps that are taking advantage of material design by either targeting Lollipop or using app compat libraries. Now, maybe that number doesn't seem big enough for you. You're thinking, oh my gosh, there's like 1 billion Android devices out there, or how many gajillion Android apps have been in the Play Store over the last 7 years. But if we put that number in perspective, and we think about Lollipop being released in October of last year, and we look at how many new apps, new Android apps, entered the Play Store since Lollipop was released, we see that the materialized apps account for more than 40% of those apps. More than 40% of the new apps in the Play Store are materialized. And when you think about how many of those apps happen to be games, that number starts looking really good. That means that basically more than 1 in 3 new apps are taking advantage of material. Yeah, you can applaud for that. That's OK. No, it is actually a really exciting start. But we want to make that number even bigger. Design is never done. So we're going to spend a little bit of time now talking about how we can make those numbers bigger, how we can make those numbers grow faster, how we can make it easier for all of you to bring material into your apps and into your designs. We've been continuously updating the material design guidelines to be better and more comprehensive since we launched. And since we launched it, we've updated the guidelines 2 times already. The first time in November of last year, we gave you all sorts of new sections on organizing objects, navigation drawers, scrolling techniques, as well as swipe to refresh, product icons. In April, we gave you another update, more guidance around app structure, data tables. We gave you writing guidelines for material, a whole bunch of other things. Today, we're giving you the biggest update to the material guidelines since we launched them. Whole bunch of new stuff. So it includes refinements to design patterns that you know and love, like the fab. Turns out, a lot of you really liked using the fab. When we launched the spec, we only provided limited guidance on how you could use the floating action button and the different ways it could transform. But many of you thought that the fab could be more flexible and that you could use it to trigger a whole bunch of new things. And we agree. So today, we've expanded the number of patterns that the fab supports and trying to give you a little bit more flexibility in how you can integrate the floating action button into your apps. Since so many of you are visiting the guidelines for help with icons, we decided to invest in a brand new dedicated resource for that. So today, we're expanding the spec to include the material icon library. This site basically contains 750 icons, more than 750 icons for you to use in your projects in an easily organized way that you can browse through and that you can search through, and that gives you one-click, easy downloads for icons for integration into your projects. App developers can just find exactly what you need in all the screen resolutions and all the densities that you need in one place. More than that, for web developers, we're actually releasing all of the icons as a web font. And it's very cool. And it has a super cool feature that makes it very easy to integrate icons, whereby using the ligatures features of modern type systems, you're actually able to type the icon name and have it ligature itself into the icon. If you're a type geek, you'll think this is the coolest thing ever. We have a whole talk tomorrow about material design icons. Material design icons made easy at 10:30 a.m. if you want to learn more about how to use the site, how to use the font, all the extra fun stuff there. Now, one of your biggest requests about material design was help in adapting designs and layouts to different screen sizes. So today, we're adding a major new section to the guidelines specifically focused on adapting material layouts. We're providing detailed guidance on breakpoints between layouts, a scalable, consistent grid, surface behaviors, and relationships across those breakpoints. So these adaptive guidelines and examples, these new patterns, are going to help you create apps that gracefully adapt to any context. We have a talk on understanding the details of these new patterns, also tomorrow at 9 a.m. and later at 1:30 p.m. if the party tonight is a little too good for you. Now, combined with these new patterns for adaptive design, we're releasing another section of the site, a device metrics reference. Now, this reference is going to help you get all the types of information you might want for designing for arbitrary devices, whether they're wearables, whether they're phones, whether they're tablets, whether they're laptops. You're going to be able to get key dimensions, densities, and all those other metrics. But most importantly, this reference helps you understand, for the screen sizes that you're interested in, how to plug those values into the adaptive templates. This means you're going to be able to understand which template and which pattern in these new adaptive templates you should be using for which devices, which orientation. These two resources together are going to take all of the uncertainty that you have right now out of creating layouts that scale across different screen sizes and orientations. And we hope it'll be really, really useful for you. Well, you guys kept asking for it, so I hope you like it. And of course, there's a lot more updates in the guidelines themselves. We have a new section on describing motion in meaningful ways, sections on launch screens, empty states, and a ton more updates and refinements. Now, as material design has evolved, more and more products across Google are also implementing the guidelines into their systems and platforms. So today, we're also releasing new guidelines that specifically target television, auto, and VR in the form of Google Cardboard. We have a talk on designing for VR tomorrow at 11 a.m. and a talk on designing for driving tomorrow at 12:30 that will dive deeper into these guidelines. Together, all of this really makes it our biggest update to material design, the specification, the guideline, the system that helps you design. We hope you'll like that, and we hope you'll continue to give us feedback so we can continue to give you even more updates in the months and years to come. We wanted to do something a little more, though. We wanted to go beyond just guidelines, tools, and references that are perhaps static, dry, authoritative, fixed in those ways. So today, we've refreshed the official Google Design site to be a place where our designers can connect directly with the community of designers and developers. We want to have a place where we can share why we're thinking about things the way that we're thinking, how we go about design, a place where we can host practical articles. For example, articles and videos addressing common concerns for designers and developers that are working in material. Like, how can I go material without losing my brand identity? This article's gone live today, and we have a talk also complementing it tomorrow on expressing your brand in material, also at 12:30. Or articles with tips on designing easily between different platforms, whether you're starting on iOS or starting on Android or starting on the web. We want you to be comfortable using material everywhere. And of course, more tutorials, and what I personally enjoy the most, some behind-the-scenes videos, footage, and lots more things like that. So I hope you'll check that out, and I hope that will also be useful for you. Now, all these things are great for designers when you're thinking about what you want to express in material. But the other thing you kept asking us for was more help in actually implementing material. And since this is a developer conference, it seems like a good time to talk about what we've done there as well. So, of course, we want to start with Polymer. Last year we announced Polymer, and as we said today, as Jason announced today, Polymer has gone into 1.0, out of developer preview, out of beta today. What that means is that Polymer is far more performant, far more stable, and has a fixed set of APIs now. And Polymer has really been scoped across all modern web platforms, including modern mobile platforms. So if you're designing with Polymer, you're building with Polymer, you have something that can really scale to all the places that the web wants to go. They tell me that they've rewritten every single line of code in Polymer for speed, and it is blazing fast. And what this means, if you're using material design with Polymer, is that all of those material paper elements that you've been using so far, they are now ready for production, letting you build high-quality, app-like experiences anywhere on the web. In addition to that, there's a new Polymer starter kit and a catalog that is going to allow you to learn and play with all of these new paper elements and other Polymer elements before you even get started building a materialized app. It includes demos, samples, very easy browsing, and what they tell me is a really cool shopping cart so that you can just download Polymer paper elements without having to open your command line. Of course, on Android, Material is available in L. And you will notice it is faster and more battery efficient in the M developer preview. But there are two things that you're all asking for out of Material in Android. You want more turnkey components, and you want backwards compatibility. So the support library family has always been our traditional answer to backwards compatibility. It's a plug-and-play system that makes it possible to implement features from the newer versions of Android into apps deployed on older versions. And when we launched Material last year, we gave you App Compat Library, which gave you some basic layout support for Material and some basic styling. Today, we're introducing a new library in the support library family, the Android Design Library. And this library enables you to take both the core elements of material design to these previous versions of Android, and most importantly, it gives you really turnkey encapsulated implementations of all of the major material design elements that you've been asking for. So let's look at some of those elements. Before, even though the fab was a relatively simple implementation, you still had to stitch together maybe 5 or 6 XML files. Today, you can just add a single floating action button tag, and you're done. The new library includes an easy, off-the-shelf card implementation with shadows, side navigation, which we know is very complicated to implement right with all of the details in the spec. Now you can just drop in a navigation drawer view, and all of the details, metrics, behaviors are taken care of for you. You just put your drawer items in a menu tag, and that's it. You're ready to go. Similarly, we're making it just as easy to build material tabs into your app. And one of my favorites is the toolbar scrolling, also a very complex, nuanced, interactive spec. And today, every aspect of the scrolling spec is now baked into one component. And you can just simply specify which behaviors you want. The pinning, the collapsing, the scrolling off screen, it's all there. We introduced Palette last year, and Palette is fantastic for really integrating your content and your apps. Today, we're giving you an upgrade to Palette, making it 6 times faster. And these are just some of the highlights of the material capabilities that you get. Check out the developer site for more details. And as I mentioned before, Support Lib doesn't just get you complete material components that are easier to deploy, it lets you deploy material to more Android devices. Today, Lollipop represents only 10% of Android devices. By using these newly released material components in Support Lib, you can now bring all of them all the way back to Android 2.1. Yeah. You can lose your shit over that one. That's worth it. So we want to help you embrace material, and we want to evolve material in response to your needs. And material doesn't just evolve through the things that we do, but in the concert and conversation with you. So over the last year, we've also launched a number of different programs to help keep us connected and have this dialogue happen. And I want to highlight a couple of those today. For starters, we've launched a program that we call Design Sprints at Google. These are full-day workshops in our design space called The Garage on Mountain View campus. And we bring companies and teams of designers, program managers, and engineers together to tackle specific problems in their product development, helping them not just with the materialization of their app, but with any aspect of their app design. This has been just a fantastic resource for teaching and reaching out, but also really understanding what are the problems that your teams are facing as you're building applications. It's been a really intense process, but the response to it has been absolutely fantastic. And as you saw in the previous slide, we've engaged with 17 companies, and we're continuing to do that. It's been really, really worthwhile. In addition to that, we've run over 100 design reviews, which are smaller 1 to 2 hour focused sessions where we have some of our designers meet with some of the designers on your teams, walking through specific aspects of implementing material design. Again, this has just been an amazing way to help us stay connected as we help you implement material design, both from a technical and a design standpoint. Now, I was going to advertise the fact that we're doing mini design reviews here at I/O all day today and all day tomorrow in the Design Sandbox, but they tell me these are actually sold out already. So if you've already booked yourself for one of them, don't miss your time window, or it'll be given away to somebody else. And if you couldn't make it to those design reviews, please do reach out to design@google.com. Both the Design Sprint program and the Design Review program are really an important part of the process for us. They're something we want to give to the community as a service. We really want you all to take advantage of them. And of course, in addition to the design reviews that we're doing here at I/O, since you probably can't make it to them if you haven't already booked for them, we do have a full slate of design talks all day tomorrow as well. Once again, showing that design has become really important to Google, not just for our products, but for our outreach and our connection to you. Please come check them out. Last, but certainly not least, last year, we hosted Google's first design conference in Fort Mason here in San Francisco. Let's take a quick look at the video recap of that event.
This should never hurt.
The sound you're about to hear can be devastating to your ear.
You are here.
Listen up, man. Here we go.
Here.
The sound you're about to hear can be devastating to your ear.
You are here.
This should never hurt.
The sound you're about to hear can be devastating to your ear.
You are here. here.
We hear you.
To the pride in our city.
This should never hurt.
We hear you.
To the pride in our city.
We hear you.
You are here.
We hear you.
That was an amazing event. I don't know how many of you had a chance to go to it, but it was an incredible opportunity to connect to the design community, and we had visitors from all over the planet actually brought into San Francisco for that. We had talks, we had panels, we had hands-on workshops, and we're planning an encore. So please stay tuned for plans on what the next Form conference will look like. So at the end of the day, material design is really just a means to an end. The reason we did this is because we want to help you create more beautiful, more immersive, more intuitive experiences for your users, for your customers. So it's only fitting that we close out this session and we shift now to take some time to talk about some of the amazing things that you've all done with material over the last year. We had a chance to talk to a number of the companies that have gone through this process of going material and hear their stories. So now we'd like to share a few details about some of their experiences. First up is Trello, a productivity app that helps you organize and share various projects. And you can see Hamid here found that the process of materializing Trello was useful in really focusing the product itself and focusing the design. Material served as a filter, which they found engaging and satisfying for how their app should evolve. But more than that, they also saw some pretty significant impact to some of the metrics that they really cared about. That's the kind of thing we like to see. Let's look at The Hunt, which is an app that helps you discover and share fashion styles. Again, Jenny really appreciated how material was like an augmentation to the design team, not something that was in conflict or contrast to the design expression that they wanted to have, but something that helped accelerate them. And that also really makes you feel good. That's exactly what we were aiming for. And likewise, the Hunt team told us that they had some impact, some material impact, pun intended, as a result of the materialization of their app. Finally, Pocket Casts, podcast aggregator, was similarly excited about how material helped evolve their brand, their look and feel, really made their app beautiful, and for them, a 30% increase in sales. And that's fantastic. So stories like this are a testament to why we made material. This is exactly what we're going for. We're trying to help accelerate and focus and add to the things that you are already trying to do. And if any of you are trying to maybe weigh the trade-offs between the investment in going material or not, or trying to convince other people about the benefits of going material, we hope stories like this are useful to you as well. In fact, there's more stories than we could possibly tell at this point in time. But we've been so excited about the work that we've seen coming out of all these developers over the last year that we decided to do something a little more to share some of these highlights with a slightly larger audience. It was very hard, but we've worked with the Play team and the dev team to select 18 of the most outstanding material apps we've seen and create a special showcase collection. And we'd like to share that with you right now. So let's look at this video. Yeah, those are beautiful. It's amazing to see that we can create a demo reel like this, like the one that we showed at I/O last year, but instead of having it be full of fake conceptual apps that we just dreamed up as examples for how you could use material, now it's full of real apps that you have brought to life, embracing material. And it's super, super exciting to see that. So today we're creating and releasing this material design showcase on the Play Store to highlight some of these amazing apps. So additionally, we wanted to recognize some specific executions of material that we thought were particularly excellent or noteworthy. So we created a Material Design Award. And this year, we decided to give it out to 6 different categories. And we'd like to, right now, today, publicly acknowledge these particular material design pioneers. They're all actually sitting here in front. So I'd like to ask them to stand up right now and get us a round of applause, please. Thank you. The whole team and myself personally are just so thrilled to see you actually bring material design to life, because a system by itself is just an idea. It requires your hard work, your dedication, your innovation, your creativity, the extra sparks that you bring to your implementations of material that make it actually real and make it actually tangible. So thank you again. Wrong slide. Backwards. Yeah. So, in summary, we're just absolutely thrilled by the success of material in this first year. We want to keep talking to you all. We want to see and learn more from you all about what is working, what isn't working, what more you'd like to see, what crazy ideas and innovations you build on top of, which ways you push and you twist the system and you break the system and you do all the things that real innovators, designers, and developers do. I'm really looking forward to another fantastic year of material, working together and seeing where it goes from here. I hope we'll be here together again next I/O to celebrate Material's 2nd birthday. But so far, it's been a fantastic first year, and there's lots more exciting stuff to come. So thank you again, all, for coming here. I hear that drinks are going to be served next, so I don't want to keep you waiting any longer than I have to. But let's raise a toast to Material's first year and Material's first birthday when we get together at the party. Thanks again.